All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael Music. I am reading this fabulous book called Think and Grow Rich. What we have been doing is just doing like a really deep dive into it, and then at the end of the week, I give a summary on the chapter. And this week, I'm going to be reading Organized Planning. And this is interesting because Organized Planning, I believe, is the longest chapter in the book. I've heard people say other chapters were longer, but I'm pretty confident we're looking at like 63 pages, maybe 64 pages. I may be doing the math wrong, but we're going to be talking about just a huge chapter in the book. And let's just like break down the first two words, organized and planning, right? We've heard it all before that you can't get rich without a definite plan. We've heard it multiple times in Think and Grow Rich that you need a definite purpose backed by definite plans with continuous action. And we've talked a little bit about how the plans don't have to be perfect, but if you want to be rich, they have to be sound plans. So when you start, you need a plan, and as you keep going, you adjust that plan. Sometimes it may take this plan is not working, and you substitute it in a new plan that will work, that will help you get to the goal. And we're going to dive into that today. So what I'm going to do is just start reading. There's a lot of good content that is in this, and this chapter may actually take 7 days to get through, then five. We're just going to kind of play it by ear. So now we are on organized planning, the crystallization of desire into action, the sixth step toward riches. You have learned that everything man creates or acquires begins in the form of desire. That desire is taken on the first lap of its journey from the abstract to the concrete into the workshop of the imagination where plans for its transition are created and organized. In chapter 2, you were instructed to take 6 definite practical steps as your first move in translating the desire for money into its monetary equivalent. One of these steps is the formation of a definite practical plan or plans through which the transformation may be made. You will now be instructed how to build plans, and he'll go on and on that. So let's break it down. First chapter, desire. It all starts with a burning desire. And I think even before that, it starts with a definite major purpose. Like, what is it that you truly want? And now we just wrapped up last week talking about the imagination. And it is through the imagination where the plans are created. So this chapter, we're going to be talking about how to build definite plans. And he says, which will be practical, viz. A. Ally yourself with a group of as many people as you may need for the creation and carrying out of your plan or plans for the accumulation of money, making use of the mastermind principle described in a later chapter. Compliance with this instruction is absolutely essential. Do not neglect it. Let me pause there. It says, align yourself with a group of as many people as you need for the creation of carrying out your plan. And you're going to be basically making use of the mastermind principle. He says, this is absolutely essential. Do not neglect it. So, what is the mastermind principle? There's there's actually a chapter. I think it comes up in chapter 10. We're on chapter 7. So it comes up after persistence. We're going to talk about the mastermind principle. And he says that this is extremely important into the creating a plan. So we're going to dive deeper into that entire chapter. And something that's interesting, just like a little forecast for the chapter that's soon to come, is just how we're talking about really building power through this philosophy. And It'll be in the mastermind where serious power can be acquired. It may not make sense now, but it's going to be some good stuff when we get to it. Now, B. He says you'll be instructed how to build plans via, and now B we're on. Before forming your mastermind alliance, decide what advantages and benefits you may offer the individual members of your group in return for their cooperation. No one will work indefinitely without some form of compensation. No intelligent person will either request or expect another to work without adequate compensation, although this may not always be in the form of money. Okay, so what are you going to offer? Let's say right now, where we're at, we're just watching this YouTube video, Facebook video, wherever this video is posted. We're just sitting here and it's like, okay, we're talking about building a mastermind, but what about what I can do right now? So what he's saying is before you worry about the mastermind, think about right now, what can you offer the group? What can you give to the group that'll make it be like, okay, it's worth having so and so in this group with us? What advantages or benefits do you personally have that you can give to the others? And now understand it's not saying you have to pay people to be a part of your mastermind group. You can give uh, compensation in other ways other than money. A big thing I notice is actually recognition. Some of the people they'll work for money, but they'll go the extra mile for the recognition. And that's something interesting to think about. Now, he says, C, arrange to meet with the members of your mastermind group at least twice a week and more often if possible until you have jointly perfected the necessary plan or plans for the accumulation of money. Okay, so once you have the mastermind, what's cool about this book is see, like the thing is most people don't have a mastermind at this moment and they're not on this step yet, step C. We're talking about when you do have the mastermind, make sure you're meeting at least twice a week. This is a chapter where I would highly suggest, like, okay, this is why you got to come continuously back to Think and Grow Rich because it's laying out different phases of where you're on your journey, and some people just aren't at this stage yet. But once you have the mastermind, make sure that you're meeting with them at least twice a week, Napoleon Hill says, until you have jointly perfected the necessary plan or plans for the accumulation of money. So let's say you do have a mastermind. There's some people watching that may have a mastermind. Have you utilized this mastermind to craft the necessary plans or that you need for the accumulation of money? So what I would recommend is, okay, keep at it with the mastermind. Go about it however you're doing it, but think in the background, okay, can I use this mastermind to my advantage to come up with a definite plan that I need to get me the next step further? Napoleon Hill then says D, maintain perfect harmony between yourself and every member of your mastermind group. If you fail to carry out this instruction to the letter, you may expect to meet with failure. The mastermind principle cannot obtain where perfect harmony does not prevail. That's interesting. So, what does perfect harmony between a mastermind look like? And why does he say the mastermind principle cannot obtain where perfect harmony does not prevail? Very interesting stuff. That's an open-ended question. I actually want to leave that question open to you watching. He says, then keep in mind these facts. First, you are engaged in an undertaking of major importance to you. To be sure of success, you must have plans which are faultless. Okay, why does he say you must have plans which are faultless? But earlier on, he says that your plans don't have to be sound. Now he's saying your plans don't have to be sound or perfect when you get started. It's more important for you to get started on some type of plan and continuously through the principle of persistence, always be looking for new and better plans to apply until you have found the right plan. See, the rich, what they have in place is the right plan for them. For whatever reason, they have found it. and that is what they're following. And it is the people that win in the long run are following a sound plan. So you and I, we may not have the perfect sound plan at the moment, but understand that that's where the key of persistence comes in. The persistence in continuously building new plans, better and better plans. And I can assure you that when I got started in my journey at 19 years old, knocking on doors, my plan wasn't today what it is, or wasn't then what it is now today. But I got started. I had a plan at the moment. I followed it, and at the end of the day, this is a whole lifelong journey. Okay, and then he says, second, you must have the advantage of the experience, education, native ability, and imagination of other minds. This is in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has accumulated a great fortune. So we're talking about the people that accumulated great fortunes. We're talking about the 1% of the 1%. He says you must have the advantage of the experience, education, native ability, and imagination of other minds. He says this is in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has accumulated great fortune. Basically, what's he saying? He's saying you're not going to get rich alone. The key is to have a mastermind in place. And we're going to do a whole week on the chapter of the mastermind. But just keep that in your back thought as you're going through this chapter with me right now. Furthermore, no individual has sufficient experience, education, native ability, and knowledge to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. All right, he's reiterated that you won't accumulate a great fortune without the cooperation of others. He says every plan you adopt in your endeavor to accumulate wealth should be the joint creation of yourself and every other member of your mastermind group. That's interesting. Every plan you adopt, what does that mean? Adopt the plan. Does the plan have to originally be yours? Should be the joint creation of yourself and every other member of your mastermind group. Is it better to have only your perspective when you're going to build a plan, or is it better to have other people's perspectives who you like and trust that you have accepted and put into your mastermind group? He says you may originate your own plans either in whole or in part, but see that those plans are checked and approved by the members of your mastermind alliance. What's he saying in that sentence? You can come up with the plans yourself, but double check with the people that you have carefully selected for your mastermind that these plans are sound and effective. Basically, get their approval on it. Get a second look on it. Like it never hurts to get a second look. What time are we talking? 12:19. Okay. Okay, he says if the first plan which you adopt does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. If this new plan fails to work, replace it in turn with still another, and so on, until you find a plan which does work. Right here is the point at which the majority of men meet with failure because of their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take the place of those which fail. Okay, big paragraph right here. Let me repeat it. If the first plan which you adopt does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. If this new plan fails to work, replace it in turn with still another, and so on, and so on, and so on, until you find a plan which does work. What is this to say? Right? How does this all link? Does the first plan that you adopt, put into action, have to be the right, perfect plan? No. And most likely, it's not going to be. This unperfect plan that you followed, you may experience temporary defeat, but does that mean you are a failure? No, it just simply means that your plan was not the right plan for you to follow. So what is he saying now? So what are you going to do? Are you going to roll over and give up? Or are you going to adopt a new plan, follow that with continuous action, and so on until you have found a plan that is sound and works? Right? So the question is, it's not that you suck, it's that your plan currently sucks. And here's where the idea of persistence comes in. Do you have the persistence to continually put new plans into place until you found the perfect plan that does work? He says right here is the point at which the majority of men meet with failure because of their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take the place of those which fail. So that was a big paragraph. Now, furthermore, the most intelligent man living cannot succeed in accumulating money, nor in any other undertaking without plans which are practical and workable. Just keep this fact in mind and remember, when your plans fail, that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It may only mean that your plans have not been sound. Build other plans. Start all over again. Okay, so have you gone out of your way? Have you gotten started and it simply didn't work, right? Like at the end of the day, you went on your journey to get the goal that you wanted and you got hit with temporary defeat. Now the question is, did you give up then saying it's impossible, or did you persist and think, okay, is there another plan that I can put into place, follow that, and continuously adapt? This is big stuff. This is to show you that, like, even though, like, there's a huge difference between temporary defeat and failure, and they are ballparks apart. Temporary defeat is just another step on your journey, but failure, we'll get to what failure means. And it's this is really critical, the importance of understanding how to create plans. I really love this chapter a lot more now than I used to because it was 65 pages. It's very long to get through, and it was a little bit not as sexy as the others, but I'm started to definitely change my perspective on it. Okay, hear this out. Thomas A. Edison failed 10,000 times before he perfected the incandescent electric light bulb. That is, he met with temporary defeat 10,000 times before his efforts were crowned with success. Temporary defeat should mean only one thing: the certain knowledge that there is something wrong with your plan. Make of men, millions of men go through life in misery and poverty because they lack a sound plan through which to accumulate a fortune. Henry Ford accumulated a fortune not because of his superior mind, but because he adopted and followed a plan which proved to be sound. 1,000 men could be pointed out, each with a better education than Ford's, yet each of whom lives in poverty because he does not possess the right plan for the accumulation of money. Okay, what's the difference? What's the difference here, right? Between an uneducated person and a very well educated person, yet the uneducated person finds a way to get rich. What was the difference between the two? Was it that the uneducated was secretly more intelligent than the educated person? No. Was it that the intelligent person was not actually as intelligent as perceived to be? No. What was the difference? The uneducated person, in this case, we'll say Henry Ford, had a sound plan which he followed, which produced him millions and millions of dollars, while the intelligent person followed the wrong plan, which is most likely the plan of the masses, which is to go to school and get a job and stick with that job and stay loyal to it. Right? That was probably the difference between the two. And it's a very, very key distinguisher that, okay, you're not lacking in talent or education or intelligence or ability. What you're lacking and what I'm lacking in is a sound, definite plan that I'm taking continuous action on and constantly revising until it is the right plan for me. Very interesting stuff. Okay, now hear this out. Hill says your achievement can be no greater than your plans are sound. I'll repeat that. Your achievement can be no greater than your plans are sound. Let me ask you, why can your achievement not be greater than the soundness of your plans? Why is there a cap? Why does it's like plan precedes achievement? What is that he's trying to say there? He says that may seem to be an axiomatic statement, but it is true. He says Samuel Insull lost his fortune of over $100 million. The Insull fortune was built on plans which were sound. The business depression forced Mr. Insull to change his plans, and the change brought temporary defeat because his new plans were not sound. Mr. Insull is now an old man. He may consequently accept failure instead of temporary defeat. But if his experience turns out to be failure, it will be for the reason that he lacks the fire of persistence to rebuild his plans. Okay, we're going to end it there, but understand this. If he does fail, let's say if he does fail, what Hill is saying is it's not that he messed up here and there. It's that he simply lacked the persistence, the fire of persistence to rebuild his plans. This is a huge idea that we're getting into. Now we're going to pause there because we're running out of time. But I want to ask you, what you like from understanding organized planning? Did you look at planning in a whole new way? Tomorrow's going to be good stuff with what we're reading. But basically, I liked how it's not about having the right plan at the beginning. It's not necessarily about that. At one point, you will need the right plan if you want to get rich. Your plan will need to be sound if you want to follow it continuously and truly do get rich. But the thing is, it's most likely, I'm not saying it's not, but it's most likely not going to be that perfect and sound in the beginning. But that's where the factor of persistence comes in. Remember, like all 13 of these principles tie into one another. And it's super cool to think that you don't fail until you have given up building new plans and following those new plans for your definite major purpose. That is a huge hope. I would love to convey to you this idea that is a huge hope for moving forward. Just like what is possible? Like, why did you fail? Most likely it was that your plans were not that sound. And so we're going to dive much, much deeper into this chapter. I want to leave it at that. So I'll leave you how I always get to leave you, and that is until we meet again in time and space. I will see you all on the next one. Bye for now.